everyone and welcome to my channel about crypto. In today's video I want to talk about one particular project which I found recently and I think it has absolutely massive potential this year. As always, if you like this channel, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also please do check out the community section. So the project I want to talk about today is called Kommunitas. And it's a launchpad. Launchpad focus mainly on gaming projects and metaverse projects, so something that's likely to perform very well this year. And it's a launchpad that has something very unique and very interesting, which I'll talk about in a minute. One of my most popular videos is a video about Seedify Fund, which I posted a few months ago. And essentially it's like an intro to IGOs, initial game offerings, an intro to launchpads. But a lot of people have been asking how they can invest in a launchpad, how they can participate in IGOs without spending $5,000 or $10,000 on S-Fund tokens or any other tokens. And this is actually the answer to this question. So if you look at projects such as Seedify Fund, the price of S-Fund currently is around $5. If we look at the all-time prices, it reached actually around $17 at some point. When I was making my original video, I think the price was somewhere around $7 or so. So basically, it was not exactly the cheapest project to enter, because if you look at their tier system, and that's similar to many other launchpads, the minimum you need to stake, the minimum amount of tokens you need to have is 250. But to have guaranteed allocation in every single IGO, you need at least 1,000 tokens, which basically means that even at current relatively low prices, you need over $5,000 in order to be able to participate in every single launchpad. And of course, the issue is that that only gives you second tier, which in my experience is something like around $20 per IGO. Of course, the great thing about IGOs is that a lot of them, they will easily do 10x, 20x. Some of them go up even a few hundred times in price. One of the IGOs I participated in, Blocktopia, went up about 600x at some point. So of course you can still make a really decent amount of money even with a very modest investment. But really, you want something, ideally you want a launchpad which allows you to invest more money so you can get better rewards even from projects which don't necessarily go straight away up to 100x, right? And with something like Seedify, well, you have to go up at least a couple tiers more to be able to invest larger amounts of money. And of course, then those investments are becoming, well, the investment in the S-Fund token becomes very sizable. And this issue remains true for vast majority of launchpads. A lot of them, they will require you to invest quite large chunk of capital into their own token for relatively small allocations. Okay, so what's different about Kommunitas? Well, if you read just this short bit here, it says that it's a decentralized and tierless launchpad. So basically there are no tiers. As long as you're holding COM token and you need only 100 tokens to participate in IGOs, you are eligible for all the IGOs. You have guaranteed allocation for all of them. And 100 COM tokens. And at the moment, COM token, well, 100 of those tokens would be actually only around 45 cents, just as it says on the website right here, 45, 46 cents. So this investment gives you guaranteed allocation in every single IGO. Of course, allocation will be very modest, but nonetheless, well, it's a much lower entry than few other launchpads, pretty much any other launchpad. If you just compare the few launchpads mentioned here, you can see that, well, the prices for the lowest tier investment for all other ones are measured in hundreds or thousands. And that's just the lowest tier investment. Out of those, only DAO Maker at this level gives you guaranteed allocation. The other two are lotteries. So for Seedify, you would actually have to bump this $1,200 into up to over $5,000 in order to be guaranteed an allocation, just as it says here. And in case of BSC pad, well, it's over in fact, almost $7,000. So you need pretty sizable investment. And of course, not everyone can necessarily afford it, or not everyone wants to allocate this much of their funds purely to be able to participate in IGOs. And IGOs are relatively small, well, have a relatively small allocation in their IGOs. With Kommunitas, all you need is 46 cents. Another important thing to consider is the private sale tier. So basically that's the amount of tokens which are required to be able to participate in the first private round of sale of the tokens. And then you can still participate in the second public round. And in case of Kommunitas, you only need an investment of around $2,200. Well, only, it's relatively only, because if you compare it to BSC pad or Seedify, you need around $50,000 to qualify for private sale. So as you can see, with much smaller investment, you can get benefits which, well, with other launchpads, you need a lot of money to get them. So that alone, I think, makes it very interesting, the much lower entry point. But there's also something else which I think is really clever. And that's the fact that there are no tiers. So not only the entry level is very low, but also then the more tokens you stake, the bigger allocation you will get. So if we go back to Seedify and their tier system, as you can see, if we start from, say, 1,000 tokens, in order to move on to the next tier, you need at least 2,500 tokens. That's, of course, quite a sizable investment. So basically, if you are somewhere between, or if you have somewhere between 1,000 and 2,500 tokens, you are in this sort of no man's land. You can still, of course, benefit from staking those tokens or the value of the token going up over time. But it doesn't help you at all when it comes to IGOs. So if, let's say, you have 1,500 S-Fund tokens, well, there's pretty good chance that you may sell those 500 tokens because they don't really help you to reach the next tier. If you invest in Kommunitas, your allocation is proportional. So the more tokens you have, the bigger allocation you will get. So essentially, it's in your interest to accumulate as many tokens as possible and to get bigger allocations. While with most launchpads, if you're somewhere between the tiers, there's pretty good chance that you'll probably just sell your tokens and keep whatever is the required whatever is the required level for particular tier to get that allocation. Unless, of course, you can then stretch to the next tier. But as you can see, these are quite big jumps. Essentially, you go in, well, first there's 1,500 additional tokens, and then there's 2,500 tokens, which at the price of $5 per token. It's a lot of money to move up those tiers. So it's a huge benefit to be able to just essentially, whenever you're adding tokens to your stack, to your portfolio, be able to also increase your allocations. So these two elements, the entry level and the fact that it's a proportional allocation, make me extremely bullish on this project. And for those two reasons alone, I'm already massively interested in it. But there's actually much more to it. So as you would expect, we have staking option, and currently staking is at 18%. So that's pretty good benefit as well, because you're getting free tokens. And again, free tokens then give you bigger allocations, or well, more tokens give you bigger allocations. And if we look at the launchpad itself, it is actually a very active launchpad. And that's something I mentioned in my previous video when I was talking about Seedify, that, well, it's one thing being able to get guaranteed allocations and invest in a launchpad in overall. But then the important thing is actually how busy that launchpad is, because you want to see launchpad releasing projects on very regular basis, so you can actually keep investing in them. And if you look at the projects that recently were launched on Kommunitas, well, if we look at February, so that's 24th of February here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects in February. In March, we had one that already launched, and then if we look at the upcoming ones, we have another 3, 6, 8. So that's 9 projects that will launch in March altogether. So it's a very busy launchpad. There is a lot going on. If anything, it may be hard to participate in all of them. You may want to pick the projects that you are most passionate about or most bullish about. But that's something that's very important to see. And as you can see, these projects are launched on various networks. So even though the Kommunitas itself is on Polygon network, the projects are launched on Polygon, on BSC, on ETH. So yeah, there's essentially a lot going on. There are plenty of opportunities to invest. And another quite interesting thing is that quite a few of those projects, like for example, Toyoverse and a couple of the others that already launched, they were also launched on Seedify, which is actually quite a common thing to do for some projects. They launch on multiple launchpads to essentially gather more funds. Reality is that Seedify at the moment is probably the most popular launchpads for gaming and metaverse related projects. So it's good to see that projects that are launching on Seedify are also launching on Kommunitas, because it's a much younger launchpad, less well known. So of course it has still much more potential for growth. And this brings me to the last thing, which is, potential for growth. So if you look at the COM token, like I said, the current price is 0.0046 of a dollar, so very, very low. And here are two figures which make me really bullish on it. Market cap is currently just over $5 million, and fully diluted market cap is only over $9 million. So it's a pretty good ratio right there. And if we look at the price action, it dipped significantly from the all-time high, as pretty much everything at the moment. So it's a pretty good entry level. It's been bouncing around those low to mid 40s for a while now, so definitely a good entry point. But if we look at the market cap and then compare this price action and market cap to Seedify Fund, so that's Seedify and its price since the release of the token. So currently market cap is 126 million. At some point, but that's at $5 price per token. At some point the price was around $17. So if you look at the movement in market cap, at some point, Seedify was something like 350 million, give or take. But here's the interesting thing. Where I think the Kommunitas token is right now is where Seedify was here. That was something like 30 million market cap, and then it dipped, and at some point over the summer, it was bouncing between sort of 2 and 5 million. So that was the summer low. So basically, we had this peak in, spring 2021, that was around the time when Bitcoin went to its all-time high in the spring. And then, of course, the market crashed and we had this dip right here. Now, compare this to Kommunitas market cap. It started, of course, really low. Then we had this peak around 7 million, and then it dipped, quite a bit of a recovery recently. But it's still below that peak, and it's still roughly around the level where S Fund was somewhere around here. So we have similar price action, this sort of bump, and then went down because the whole market went down. Here's the thing, Kommunitas is a much younger project. The token was only released in August, September, and it only really picked up around November last year. So once we get the next bull run, and it's widely expected that at some point this year we'll get this massive gaming/metaverse bull run, it's not unreasonable to expect that what will happen with Kommunitas is essentially what happened with Seedify here. So we are currently in this phase right here, and we can potentially expect all this massive growth happening later when the market picks up. And like I said, with the features this project has, and with the current really low market cap, I think it's just such a good investment opportunity for both getting into the project and accumulating those tokens, expecting this massive pump to occur later in the year, but also to be able to participate in all those upcoming IGOs. And of course, the market is really sketchy at the moment, and a lot of projects will struggle, like a lot of IGOs. Well, it's not the best time to release a project, but it's just the current reality, and we just have to get on with it. But it's really important, I think, to find these projects at those really, really early stages. Because when I was talking about Seedify in my video, well, the price was around $7 per token. So for a lot of people, it was already too late to invest in it. But I was saying in that video that, well, yeah, sure, investing in it when the price is around, I don't know, $5 or $7, it's a huge investment, putting 5,000 or 7,000 to be able to get that guaranteed allocation. But If you found this project early enough, if you invested in it in the summer of 2021 rather than sort of September, October, well, you could get those 1,000 tokens for what, about $400 or $500. And of course, that's something that a lot of people are much more comfortable with, even as a risky investment, let alone if you're really bullish on it and you want to invest bigger amount of money. So I think that we are exactly in the same phase with this project. I'm really bullish on it. I think it will perform really well. It just reminds me of Seedify in summer of 2021. So if you feel that you missed the boat on Seedify, I suggest that you do check it out. Of course, do your own research. Don't just invest in it because I keep talking about it. Make sure that you understand the project and you are happy with everything. But to be honest, this is one of the most bullish recent finds, in my opinion. Of course, investing larger amounts or just going all in at this point in the market cycle is extremely risky. So please just invest in line with your own risk tolerance and your own situation. But at the very least, do keep an eye on this one. And yeah, I'm really bullish on it. I'm really happy that I heard about it, that I found it. And yeah, really excited to see what will happen next. So I will be definitely talking about it more on this channel. And of course, I'll be also covering various projects which are launching on Kommunitas. So yeah, there'll be more content coming. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.